EA. It is state of the art.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. In fact, we have normal KSL travel times up and down the I-15 corridor between Willard Bay and Utah Lake. No problems on the rest of your Salt Lake County freeways or main secondaries. Your one-tank trip starts in Cedar City, Parowan, and Bryan Head. Scenic byways, fabulous fall colors, live theater, mountain biking, chairlift rides, ATVing, vibrant art, food, and downtown. Visit cedarcity.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll have some rain showers this afternoon, and then tomorrow will clear up. There's a warming trend toward the weekend. Right now, 57 degrees with a rain shower. I'm Dan Bonas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Well, we always start this program by trying to get past the headlines and trying to divide the rage from the reason. As we currently watch the floor of the United States House of Representatives, it is very difficult to divide the rage from the rage, and there seems to be very little reason as it relates to what's actually going on. Just a few moments ago, there was a failure of a vote to block the vote to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy, and right now we are in the middle of debate as to the actual vote, where the fate of the current speaker will be decided. And so we're going to try to get underneath it in terms of what should all of us be thinking about as we watch not this clarity, not this confidence in the institution of government, but as we watch the chaos and confusion play out in the House of Representatives. Let's begin.
Think you know the news of the day? Think again with Boyd Matheson on KSL News Radio.
For the first time in a century, the House is about to hold a floor vote to remove the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. The House has never removed a speaker before. Florida Representative Matt Gaetz is attempting to do so. So what does that really mean for the institution? That's what I am most concerned about today. Again, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, an independent, a liberal, a conservative, or anything in between, these are things that we should be watching as a nation that do impact us for the long haul. The interesting thing to me is I've watched this play out during the course of the morning as I've been back and forth with many members of Congress, not just from the state of Utah, but from around the country, as we watch this unfold in terms of the vote and the debate that's going on. This is clearly one of those fire-ready aim moments by Representative Gaetz, because there is no plan. There's no plan. He just was on the floor of the House in a bit of a ranting speech, complaining about deficit spending, the size of the national debt, things that didn't get done by regular order, all of which lie clearly at the feet of both Republicans and Democrats. Surely Speaker McCarthy has not done all of those things in just the last 6 months. That is not the case in any way, shape, or form. But Representative Gaetz went on to say that is it. This is the moment to change all of that. And yet he's presented no cause, no case, no piece of legislation, and no name of anyone that would be put forward to become the next Speaker of the House. And so there continues to be a debate going on. We'll continue to follow that. One of the things we will not do on this show, we're not going to reward bad behavior. So we're not going to dip into rants and pejorative-laced monologues. We're going to look for reasonable conversations. We can look at both sides of the issue, whether you think Speaker McCarthy should be removed and vacated as Speaker of the House. That's fine. Let's have that conversation. I think how we do that matters, and we're going to continue to look at that. But we're not going to get into the just pejorative stuff and the theatrics of performative politics on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. So there was allotted up to 30 minutes for debate on this issue, divided equally between those that are for and those that are against this vote on Speaker McCarthy's speakership. And so as we look at all of that, I actually want to go back to a couple of things that I think are important for us to keep in mind and keep in perspective. One of the things that happened earlier today, Speaker McCarthy chatted with the press, and he gave his thoughts on the motion to vacate. And he said he stands by his decision to pass that continuing resolution, which seems to be the genesis of this current round of drama and palace intrigue. But this is what he said earlier this morning.
I firmly believe it's the right decision to keep government open, to make sure our military is still paid, our border agents are still paid. And if that makes a challenge based upon whether I should be Speaker, I'll take that fight.
He spoke to the institution of the House, which I thought was quite stirring and quite correct. Again, don't always agree with Speaker McCarthy on a wide range of things and strategies and tactics in the House of Representatives. But he talked about this, what it would mean if they removed a speaker who held the vast majority of support within his own party.
I truly believe, though, the institution of the House. At the end of the day, if you throw a speaker out that has 99% of their conference, that kept government open and paid the troops, I think we're in a really bad place for how we're going to run Congress.
All right. And then finally, I think one of the most important things he said was the question that I ask candidates who were thinking about running for office. I would always ask them, tell me one thing that you want to get done that even getting that done cost you your job. In other words, if you get ousted and not reelected, what's the one thing you would do and lose your job at the same time? And that's always a very telling question. Kevin McCarthy actually had an answer for that question. Take a listen.
But you know, at the end of the day, keeping government open and paying our troops was the right decision. I stand by that decision. And at the end of the day, if I have to lose my job over it, so be it. But I'm going to fight for the American public, and I'll continue to fight.
So there you have it. There you have someone in politics saying, keeping the government open, paying our troops, doing the work of the American people, I stand by that decision. And if doing that, paying the troops, keeping the government open, cost me my job, so be it. So again, whether you love him or not, he did the right thing right there. That is the right answer to the question. That if you have something that you're willing to lose your job over, then you know who you are and you know where you stand. And nothing is more powerful, nothing is more empowering, and nothing enables an individual to show more courage, especially political courage, when you know the cost and you're willing to pay it. And sadly, much of what we've been watching over the course of the morning is the opposite of that. It is not about character. It is not about truth. It is not about trust. It is about power. It is about platform. It is about positioning. And that is what's wrong in our nation's capital. Now, it is important to note that as this vote gets ready to happen here, and we expect it to happen in the next few minutes here, they'll begin that vote, that as we watch that play out, you will see that the vast majority of Republicans will vote for Kevin McCarthy to maintain his speakership. So it's a very small number. Again, it's a very closely divided House of Representatives. There's only 5 votes that swings the balance. And so as you watch that, the vast majority of his own party is going to vote for Speaker McCarthy to stay as Speaker of the House. The Democrats have all lined up and locked in that they think this is a Republican problem, and so Republicans will have to deal with it. Now, that might be smart strategically for power. That might be smart politically for the Democrats to just pop popcorn and watch the infighting of Republicans. I don't know, however, if that's the right thing to do for the country. Because the Democrats know that the alternatives to Kevin McCarthy will unlikely be better and most likely be worse in terms of the functioning of the House. And so there are a number of scenarios. I've talked to a number of people in Washington, D.C. today. I know the Problem Solver Caucus met earlier today. This is a group of equal parts Democrats and Republicans they were looking at an option of where maybe some of those members of the Problem Solver Caucus would vote present from the Democratic side, which would change the calculation and likely keep Kevin McCarthy in as Speaker. Those Democrats in the Problem Solver Caucus said we can't do that. They're going to stay in lockstep with their party leadership. And that's a little sad to me because I think the Problem Solver Caucus was designed to deal with situations exactly like this. And so the question today for me, beyond all the headlines, is who will lead? And what principles will lead them? What principles will lead us? To me, this is one more exasperating, exhausting moment for the American people that sadly continues to undermine our trust in the institution. But it's time for some leaders to lead and change the conversation and get us to a little bit better place. We'll stay with this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Think again on Inside Sources with Boyd Matheson.
Do you need tickets for Taylor?
Yes, please.
It's hard to find good ones to the Eras concert movie.
Tell me about it.
So let KSL do this for your kids. Or maybe it's for you. We're giving away a pair of tickets to a private KSL screening of the Eras movie. Just listen each day at 8:45, 11:45, and 3:45 for your chance to win. 3 chances to win every weekday. 8:45, 11:45, and 3:45 for the next 2 weeks on KSL News Radio.
It's first and goal at the 10-yard line with seconds left on the clock. Your running back is poised for a game-winning touchdown, but before you can make the snap, the opposing team just takes the ball and locks it inside a safe? Then they won't give you the combination unless you pay them $10,000? That's how ransomware works. And in 2021, 2 out of every 3 organizations fell victim to ransomware attacks. Protect your business with the Les Olson Security Suite from Les Olson IT. Learn more at lesolson.com.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. For right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com. Or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
Do you ever feel like your brain is getting in its own way? Like, you know what you should do and what's the best thing for you, but you just can't do it. BetterHelp can help you figure out what's holding you back. BetterHelp is entirely online therapy that offers video, phone, or even live chat online therapy sessions. BetterHelp is designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist, and you can also switch therapists at any time for no additional charge. BetterHelp Therapy empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It's helpful in learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp online therapy a try. Start working for yourself instead of against yourself. Make your brain your friend with BetterHelp. Get 10% off your first month at BetterHelp.com/Salt Lake. That's BetterHelp.com/Salt Lake.
Held over due to popular demand. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 888-SPA-SALE or visit HotTubAndSwimSpaSale.com.
Hear elevated conversation on crucial issues. Boyd Matheson on Inside Sources.
Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. We are following the drama and debate on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. They are in a period of debate before they will take an actual vote on whether or not to remove Speaker Kevin McCarthy from his speakership. The debate is going back and forth, mostly with a lot of pejorative-laced rants from either side. But I want to put all of this into some context. We were talking just before the break that this is about leadership. And I'm not just talking about Republicans getting their act together, though that would be a good thing for the country. There's also an opportunity for Democrats to lead and get their act together for the betterment of the country. But no one seems to be really willing to do that today because political power is so enticing. And why would I do something that would be good politically for my opponent? And that's all the wrong question. The first question, the only question, when you take an oath and are sworn in to elected office, it is about the people you represent and the country when it comes to the federal level. I thought it was very interesting this morning when Speaker McCarthy chatted with the press on his way to his office. He actually talked about a conversation he had with Speaker Pelosi relating to the kind of leadership we're trying to get to and who's really committed to the institution of government, the institution of the House. Take a listen.
When I talk to the other speakers, like a Boehner or Paul Ryan, the first thing when they would meet, Nancy Pelosi would come, and she would simply say to him, if anyone ever did that motion, we would stand with you. Not because of you and not because we agree politically, simply because of the institution needs to be able to stand on its own. First thing she did when she became Speaker was she removed that. And you know what? It gave me the power to make that motion on her. I had a lot of Republicans that wanted me to do it. I never did it. Did Nancy and I get along? No, we really don't get along. But I thought the institution was too important, and I thought that was too personal.
I thought the institution was too important and that too personal. So that's where we've been. Now you look at where we are, and I don't see a whole lot of folks standing up for the institution. Now, there has been, just in the last 30 minutes, as they've been going through this period of debate, equally divided by those for ousting the Speaker, those against. And, of course, the Democrats are just on the side, happily eating their popcorn, watching the drama unfold, because they know that's not good for them politically. So they just are watching it play out. But Tom Cole from Oklahoma, he gave a statement, and he actually identified three very important groups that are there on the floor of the House today and what each of them might want to think differently about.
You know, I think broadly speaking, as I look across this floor, you can divide members into three groups. I'm very happy to be in the first group. The overwhelming majority of my party supports the Speaker that we elected. We're proud of the leadership he's shown. We're proud of the manner in which he's been willing to work with everybody in our conference and, I believe, in this chamber. There's a second group, small group. Honestly, they're willing to plunge this body into chaos and this country into uncertainty for reasons that only they really understand. I certainly don't. And then there are friends on the other side, and I recognize that my friends on the other side have a very complex set of partisan, personal, and political calculations to make. But I would say, think long and hard before you plunge us into chaos, because that's where we're headed if we vacate the speakership.
So that was Representative Tom Cole saying everybody. So there's a vast majority of Republicans who think Speaker McCarthy should stay in. You've got a small number of Republicans who want him out. And then you have the Democrats. And as Tom Cole pointed out, they have a complex set of political questions that they are asking themselves. And I think for all three groups, asking the political question is the wrong question. The real question, the only question, is what is best for the country. And there will be a lot of chaos because I guarantee you there's not going to be any resolution in terms of who the next speaker is anytime soon. I just don't see it happening. And so I think one of the questions that you have to ask those who are ready to oust Speaker McCarthy, and again, there's some reasons and there's some valid points that they have some real valid grievances to be sure. But the question is, therefore what? So they take down the Speaker of the House. Therefore what? Inability to move anything forward. They talk about how committed they are to fiscal reform. They talk about wanting to get bills passed to fund the government. None of that can happen while there is no speaker. Nothing's moving forward. So therefore what? Do they have a plan? Do they have a speaker that could get 218 votes? Does Matt Gaetz, is he going to put himself forward as the answer to this problem? Is he going to be the arsonist that lights the fire and then grabs the hose and puts it out and says he's the hero? I always had a rule in politics, and that is if you want to be the hero, you can't be the hero. And Matt Gaetz wants to be the hero. I don't know the hero of what, because I haven't seen any plan or any path that leads anywhere forward. Like it is stuck in the muck and the mire is where the House of Representatives is going to be if Kevin McCarthy is removed as a speaker. And I'm okay. Share the grievance, not a problem. Talk about what's wrong, no problem. Do some things that give you a position so you can debate, that's great. But what we can't afford is to just be grievance policy and grievance politics. You've heard me talk about it many times on this show. You can stand up in a Boston Tea Party kind of moment, and you can shout grievances at whatever you don't like, what you're against. But that's the easy part. The hard part is moving forward. You have to leave Boston. As we always say, if those original colonists had stopped at Boston, what we celebrate as the Boston Tea Party would not have been even a footnote of a footnote in history. It would have just been one more angry mob yelling at a big oppressive government. But they didn't. They marched it forward. It took them 14 years to get from Boston, where they protested against what they didn't want, to get to Philadelphia, where they put down in the Constitution, this is the government we do want. And the thing that I am seeing and not seeing as I look at Representative Gaetz is all I see is Boston. No offense to our people from Boston. But it's all just anger. It's all protest. This is what we don't want. That's fine. Where is your Philadelphia vision? Show me the kind of government you do want. Lead to the kind of government you do want. This is a Philadelphia nation. We get angry, we protest, we do all of those things. That's very much part of who we are as a country. And then we march on. And right now there is nowhere to march but further into the muck and the mire of all of this. And so if Representative Gaetz and those in his very tiny, tiny cohort of only about 5 or 6, if they are so stuck in Boston protest and are unwilling to show what a Philadelphia vision of what they want or where they want to lead, that doesn't take us anywhere. And it's going to take Republicans and Democrats to say enough and ask the most important question, not who gets the political win, not who gets the political power out of this, but to ask the right question, which is what is best for the country. We're going to continue to watch this as it unfolds live on the House of Representatives floor in our nation's capital. We'll be right back after bottom of the hour news.
It's 1:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. The battle is on the House floor today over the fate of Speaker Kevin McCarthy He's facing a motion to vacate the Speaker's position, sponsored by Republican Matt Gaetz and a number of far-right conservative lawmakers. Speaking from the floor before the vote, Virginia Representative Bob Good says tensions with the Speaker came to a head last weekend when a bipartisan deal was reached with Democrats to avert a government shutdown, but that didn't include additional cuts in federal spending.
The Speaker this past Friday in the Republican conference meeting made it abundantly clear that he was willing to do anything to avoid the temporary discomfort and the pressure of a pause in the 15% of the non-essential federal government operations.
Among other arguments, Congressman Bruce Westerman of Arkansas quoted from the Book of Psalms in the Bible as he argued to keep McCarthy in the job. We're already seeing snow in Utah's mountains. Temperatures are dropping, and that means the timing of a new temporary homeless camp to be built at 558 West, 300 South couldn't have come at a better time. KSL News Radio's Hugo Rickard Bell has more.
Homelessness in Utah is increasing. Campsites are forever being set up and then moved weeks later by police. So this temporary sanctioned campsite is a celebrated idea led by Mayor Erin Mendenhall. But established shelters are already overflowing and turning people away. And they say 50 beds is simply not enough. Director of Rescue Mission Salt Lake, Chris Crosswhite, told me that this is a good thing, but in the long run, it's a Band-Aid on a broken leg.
The shelter's being built across the street from the track station. It includes 50 small individual cabins with heating and locks on the doors. There's hope to have it open by November. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down more than 500 points at this hour. Actually just bounced back to 499. The NASDAQ is down 286 points at this hour. And our KSL weather, we'll see some more rain this afternoon, but then things dry out. KSL weather's next. KSL News Time, 1:32.
Early mornings can be hard enough, just getting yourself going.
We try to make it a little easier with news and weather from comfortable, trusted anchors and reporters.
Join us on Utah's Morning News between 5 and 9
on KSL News Radio.
Have you Googled yourself lately? Are there negative posts from an ex-employee or from a former client? Maybe an outdated news article or sensitive personal information about your family? Search engines don't always get it right. But right or wrong, it's your reputation on the line. That's where Reputation Defender by Norton comes in. One of the most trusted names in online reputation repair, Reputation Defender has been fixing people's search results for over 15 years. Their cutting-edge approaches help you to wipe away unwanted information in your search results. They also promote the good stuff so that it rises to the top, helping you put your best foot forward. Your good name is too valuable to leave to the whims of a Google algorithm. Take control with Reputation Defender. You can start by getting your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 800-401-6681 to speak to an expert. That's 800-401-6681.
All right, Mittens. This is going to be fine. Please don't panic. Okay, here we go. One paw at a time. No.
Some things are best left to the experts, like furnace inspections. Schedule one with a certified heating contractor to make sure your furnace is running safely and efficiently for winter. A reminder from Dominion Energy.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's a good drive on the Valley freeways, but we do have a crash in West Bountiful, 500 South, 1100 West for Davis County drivers. Autumn's in the air, the time when ghouls and boys should visit This Is the Place, Little Haunts, the not-so-scary adventure with witches, storytelling, creepy crawly encounters, ponies, crafts, and more. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, rain showers continuing this afternoon, but tomorrow will clear up with a warming trend through the weekend. And right now we're at 57 degrees, mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
If you're just tuning in, we're watching the high-stakes drama, palace intrigue, however else you want to describe it, unfolding on the floor of the United States House of Representatives. And Steve Scalise, representative from Louisiana, just concluded his remarks. Again, there's a debate, 30 minutes each side, divided back and forth. And so they are, looks like we're down to about 7.5 minutes remaining on Representative Gates' side. I'm not sure if the other side still has probably about the same. So we're probably about 15 minutes away from the vote beginning to oust Speaker Kevin McCarthy. As I've watched this debate go back and forth, and I actually would not even call this a debate because nobody's listening. This is a lot of theatrics. This is a lot of performative politics. It's all the things that we dislike because this is not dividing the rage from the reason. This is all rage and no reason. And there's no reason even to be in this space. So as we continue to watch that play out, and currently Matt Gaetz, who has been the leader of the movement to oust Speaker McCarthy, and I will admit he is the leader of a very, 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 very small movement. There are about 6 of them. Now, there might be upwards of 20 who might actually vote to oust the Speaker, but we know for sure that there's probably 6, and that's enough because it's a very closely divided House of Representatives. So the debate will continue on here for just a little bit, and then the vote will actually begin, and then more chaos will ensue. Assuming that Matt Gaetz has the votes to oust Speaker McCarthy, then there will be a new process to select a Speaker of the House. The Democrats have been united that they will not vote to keep Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker. So they have made a political choice. And again, you can make political choices. That's fine. And you can actually win elections making political choices. And sometimes that's how it goes. But just because you gain power does not mean you get to lead. And that's what I think we're missing today, is any real sense of leadership. Who's leading us anywhere? And yes, I get the political side of the Democrats saying, hey, this is the Republican Party's mess. They can deal with it. And they're all too happy to just sit back and watch, which is what they're doing right now. No one from the Democratic side of the aisle has spoken. No one has weighed in. And they are determined to stay in lockstep, that none of them will cross over and vote to preserve the speakership for Kevin McCarthy. Not even amongst the Problem Solver Caucus, which I believe was designed for moments just like this. Sadly, the politics of party is going to win the day. And so that's unfortunate. And I actually think that undermines the strength of a group like the Problem Solver Caucus. If they can't stand up in a moment like this, how much more can they really get done? And so we'll watch that. We'll see how that plays out. My guess is that once this vote begins and ends, that they will begin rounds of voting for Speaker, and that could go on, as we saw in January. It could go on for days and days. And so that will be part of it. Meanwhile, let's not forget the meanwhile. Meanwhile, we're down to 42 days left until the government runs out of money again. And while all of this drama is playing out, the work of the people is not being done. That's not good for the Republic. All the Republic. Every political stripe, every community, nobody wins. And for what? The question I wish somebody would have asked Representative Gaetz is therefore what? So what? If you do this, you've had your head-to-head duel with Speaker McCarthy, now what? Will you lead? Do you have a plan? Is there anything that can be done? Do you have the support of anyone else in your conference besides a minority of the minority of the minority? So therefore what? When I watch these kind of things play out for pure political power and a heck of a lot of hubris, I always go back to the Shakespeare quote of, who for one small grape would the entire vine destroy? So Representative Gaetz can claim a victory today, most likely, that he will have ousted the Speaker of the House. First time it's been done. First time it's even been challenged or attempted in over 100 years. But how satisfying is that grape going to be if the whole vine is destroyed in the process? And that destruction spreads on many different levels. The work of the people is not going to advance for as long as there's not a Speaker of the House. The clock will continue to tick down towards the next shutdown showdown of the government, which will happen in mid-November. We're not that far away. And in the meantime, this is all theatrics. And I've actually been watching my email as we've been going along. Representative Gaetz has sent out several fundraising emails just since this all began this morning. Because after all, he's fighting for you. Democrats have also sent out fundraising emails. See how crazy the Republicans are? We should vote them out. Let's make sure that we're ready for 2024. So all of those things to me are just a lack of leadership. And I want to go to a couple of comments that were made just within the last 5 minutes by Steve Scalise, representative from Louisiana. And I want to go to the first one where he talks about the real problems facing Americans.
But it's a process where if we're going to confront the problems that families are facing, because right now we need to resolve our differences inside this House chamber before we can then go and fight for those families who are struggling. But every single day across America, families are struggling with real problems that we're going to have to get back to solving. And those problems are real for them. It's inflation, it's the economy, it's high energy costs. It's an open southern border that doesn't just affect the border states, it's affecting every state. Republican districts, Democrat districts. Everybody knows it. And it can be ignored by the White House, but this House is the only body that started to take action.
So that was Steve Scalise just moments ago. We're coming down towards the end of the debate period on the floor of the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., and again, a lot of this is head-scratching and sadly head-shaking for me today. I just don't understand the end game. I don't see a vision. I don't think this is good for Republicans. I don't think this is good for Democrats. I don't think this is good for citizens anywhere. And so what are we doing? We're playing politics. This is not what the founders intended. In fact, we should probably just take a moment to remind everyone why this is even happening. A lot of this is driven by the fact that Congress has continued to fail to do its job. Had Congress simply passed the 12 appropriations bills as outlined in the Constitution by the end of the fiscal year, which everybody knows ends September 30th every single year. And for decades now, neither Democrats nor Republicans, didn't matter who was in charge, everyone seems just content to kick the can down the road and to continue increased spending in the process. You don't get $33 trillion in debt through compromise. You don't get there through conflict. You get there through the kind of compromise and collusion that we're actually seeing play out on the floor of the House today. Both sides are at fault for the amount of debt that we have in this country. When they're in power, they spend. And when they're out of power, they criticize the spending. But they just keep spending either way. had Congress just done its job, these kinds of moments don't happen. They don't happen because there's nothing for them to happen on. And so that's the big thing for us as voters is we have to sit back and watch these shenanigans, watch members of Congress, for one small grape of political power, the entire vine of trust in our institutions destroy. And that's part of the problem. We're coming down to just the last few moments of debate here. The vote will happen soon. We'll bring it to you live here on KSL News Radio. We've got you covered as we watch the drama unfold on the floor of the House of Representatives. We'll be right back.
Here's one part of life that doesn't need pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice has quite a powerful political lobby.
Breaking news and fall weather updates are all the spice you need. Start with Utah's Morning News with Tim and Amanda from 5 to 9.
Good morning.
Then David Dujanovic, Boyd Matheson, and Jeff Kaplan's Afternoon News as you drive home. News, analysis, variety. The spice of life.
So good.
On KSL News Radio.
Hey guys, Alex and Scott for Alpine Home Medical, bringing wellness home for so long to so many people, and now they're bringing it also to the people in Tooele. Yes, a brand new store in Tooele. They're so excited to announce for Alpine Home Medical. If you go to alpinehomemedical.com, you can see all of the different variety of so many products that they can offer you for that in-home health experience. And Scott, we've been talking about this and singing their praises for years, and there's a reason we do it.
Well, we do it because they really take great care of you. I mean, it can be intimidating. You don't know what to get. You don't know how it fits. And you walk in the store, and from the minute you walk in the store, they're going to take care of you. They're going to sit you down. They're going to go through all of the insurance, everything, how much going to cost you to get all of this taken care of. But then they're going to fit you right, whatever it might be. And once you've been fitted and everything works, then you go home, and guess what? They're going to take care of you after you get home as well.
Lift chairs, CPAP supplies, whether or not you want to take care of that person who needs more safety in the bathroom, whatever it is, Alpine Home Medical is going to help you out. alpinehomemedical.com. Just say you heard it from Alex and Scott. alpinehomemedical.com.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Are you a business owner with over 25 employees? Are you currently using a PEO for payroll, HR, or benefits? If so, you're spending a lot more money than you need to. My name is Keith with Magellan. PEOs charge $25 to $40 per employee per month, and that's before the hidden markups that go straight into their pocket. Did you know that most PEOs charge you a higher tax rate than they have to? Did you know that most PEOs don't shop your insurance policies to get the best prices? Those two markups alone cost your company thousands each year. The bottom line is PEOs are the most expensive way to manage payroll, HR, and benefits. What if there was a way to handle all of your HR needs for a fraction of the cost? Last month, we did a side-by-side comparison for a company with 60 employees. They saved $80,000 a year without giving up a single service, feature, or benefit. We're Magellan. We provide payroll, HR, and benefits for less, a lot less. Text HCM to 57500 now to get a free comparison to see how much you could save.
Get Mr. Max Performance Missionary Package. 1 performance suit, 4 and collar stretch shirts, 3 ties, 1 mission belt, and 1 pair of Echo or Johnston & Murphy shoes. Just $595.
KSL has your tickets for Taylor. We're filling a megaplex theater full of Swifties, and we want you there. Listen for the keyword weekdays at 8:45, 11:45, and 3:45. Then text it to 57500 for your chance to win. Want a reminder? Text the word Taylor to 57500 and we'll alert you when the contest is about to start. Details and more chances to win at KSLNewsRadio.com.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the arguments in favor of keeping Kevin McCarthy as Speaker included quotes from the Bible as debate continued in the House of Representatives. Second, former Congressman Chris Stewart called Speaker McCarthy a uniquely talented leader. And third, a sanctioned camp for unsheltered people in Salt Lake includes 50 small cabins, even as beds fill up in the city's existing shelters. 57 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Boyd Matheson divides rage from reason on Inside Sources.
Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. It's great to be with you today. We are watching the unfolding drama on the floor of the House of Representatives. There's just a few minutes left in terms of the time allotted for debate for both sides on whether to oust or keep Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. We'll watch that. I did get a chuckle just now that one of the representatives pulled out his cell phone on the floor of the House, which is a no-no, by the way. But he did it to point out that both Republicans and Democrats were sending out fundraising emails on this very topic while they're on the floor of the House of Representatives. That's part of the problem. Well, we're going to take a quick pause from that because there are a host of other very important things going on, not only across the country, but all around the world. And we've seen support lately, public especially, in decline as the war in Ukraine drags on. It's not just here in the United States. It's also many of our European allies having that challenge as well. So as the weapon stockpiles dwindle, Ukraine is doing some pretty innovative things in terms of taking matters into their own hands and giving a clear message to defense contractors around the world that Ukraine is open for business. Paul McCleary covers major defense programs and acquisition policy for Politico, and a great piece. Paul, we appreciate you joining us on a crazy day in our nation's capital. But this is an important subject, an important strategic move from Ukraine. Give us a sense of what you learned.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. The Ukrainians, obviously they pay attention to what's happening in Washington and the capitals of Europe, so they know that, a public sentiment is still largely in favor that they know that the governments in the West have given a lot of their pre-existing stocks, right? Ammunition, vehicles, drones, munitions, things like that. And there's only so much to give, and countries also there's a little bit of donor fatigue in some of these nations, so the Ukrainians know they have to start doing this for themselves. So they're really making a push to try to start inking these co-production deals with defense companies in the United States and Europe in order to begin producing some of this stuff themselves. Some in Poland and the Czech Republic and places like that, but then they also want to try to bring this manufacturing into Ukraine, even while the war is going on. But kind of with an eye to after the war, whenever that might be, in order to make their own equipment and eventually become a net exporter of weapons around the world.
Yeah, I think that's so fascinating to watch that play out. We've actually seen some of that here in the state of Utah with some of the defense alliance groups here that have actually been over to Ukraine. They've been looking at different ways to be helpful there in country in terms of some of that manufacturing. So give us some sense in terms of how this is being received. Are there some fledgling relationships happening there? And is this strategy from President Zelensky really starting to get some traction?
It is, yeah. German company Rheinmetall, which is their largest defense company, they make tanks, armored vehicles, and munitions, all kinds of stuff. They've signed a co-production agreement with Ukraine already in order to repair the Leopard tanks that Germany and other countries have donated and do some work in Ukraine. But right now it's looking like repair. French companies have jumped all in. I know there's a deal to start making drones in Ukraine. BAE Systems, a defense giant, which is based in the UK, but also in the United States, opened an office in Kyiv just recently, and they want to start exploring some of this as well. I mean, a lot of these deals are are looking at smaller things like munitions or repair of some of the equipment that the West has donated to Ukraine. I mean, opening up a huge factory to build tanks or armored vehicles right now inside Ukraine is a bit of a risky proposition. So I think they're starting where they can. And the other thing Western countries really want to help with or get help themselves are drones and electronic warfare. The Ukrainians have been fighting the Russians using drones and electronic warfare since 2014, and no one else in the world really has their experience. So the Ukrainians themselves are going to be pretty much sought after experts in these areas in ways that even the United States, UK, Germany, we just don't have that experience against an advanced foe like the Ukrainians do. So they're going to be in high demand in the coming years.
Yeah, that's so interesting. And it really does appear that Ukraine, one, intends to win this in the end. And they're also saying that, hey, we'll be a shield for Europe by future attempts from Russia. I think that was part of what you covered in your piece. Give us, just in the last minute or so, just give us some sense of that, and then what you're really watching over this next season, real crucial moving into winter as it relates to the war.
Yeah, I mean, the war, it's a bit of a stalemate right now, right? The Ukrainians have been trying to break through the defensive lines the Russians have built with very limited success. I mean, the Russians really dug themselves in over the past year, and it's really tough to push them out. So the Ukrainians need more artillery shells, more. I mean, they're firing 5,000-6,000 a day in some cases. They also need drones. They need one-way drones that you can essentially fly into a target and explode. They need air defense to protect their cities and protect some of these fledgling industries. So those are going to be the big things, and those are going to be what the type of things that they want to build themselves, but right now still need to buy or have donated from the West. Air defense is the biggest threat by far.
Anything else on your horizon that you're watching for in just the coming days as it relates to how Ukraine executes this and how they really get some momentum behind it?
Yeah, well, I mean, one big worry, I mean, as you're watching the Hill, as we all are right now, there's a $24 billion Ukrainian aid package from the Biden administration that's being held up on the Hill right now. And we're about out of money. I think there's $5.6 billion is a lot of money. There's about $5.6 billion left in a previous aid package for Ukraine for military aid. But that's going to run out in a couple months. So if there's not another package, Ukrainians are going to be very, very – they're already very worried. But if there's not another package, they're going to be in a tough spot. But they're all in. They have to be. They're trying to kick the Russians out of Crimea and the Donbass. So they're going to need more. And they're going to need more spare parts and equipment as their vehicles that we've donated in other countries are damaged or destroyed. So it's not just new equipment. It's, I mean, tires and engines and things like that. They're going to be, they're in pretty short supply, but they desperately need that.
All right. Great perspective as always. Paul McCleary covers major defense programs and acquisition policy for Politico. Great piece, Paul, with you and your colleague. And we'll continue to watch this and see how Ukraine continues to do and really becoming a leader in that space in some really extraordinary ways. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
All right. Important conversation there. And as Paul rightly pointed out, part of the problem with the chaos going on the floor of the House of Representatives is there is a $24 billion aid package to Ukraine that has gone nowhere, either from the House side, the Senate side, and the White House is sitting in the wings waiting. And so that is part of the dysfunction that continues to go on. And I think it's clear that Ukraine is deciding they're going to have to do some of this on their own. And so they're inviting contractors here in the United States to help them go build the infrastructure so they can do it themselves inside of Ukraine, even as the war rages on. Well, the war on the floor of the House of Representatives also is raging on. There are just about 2 minutes left of debate on the floor of the House, and then they will proceed to a vote that will determine the fate of the Speaker of the House. We'll continue to watch all of that, bring it to you live here on KSL News Radio. But don't lose heart. There is dysfunction. Our politics is broken, to be sure, but American is not. America is going to be just fine. This is just a very major disruption, inconvenience, and I would add embarrassment. We have to do better. We'll step aside for some top-of-the-hour news. Stay with us. Much more to come on KSL News Radio.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 2 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. The House is moving forward with an effort by, it appears that the U.S. House of Representatives is ready to begin voting now on the effort to oust House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Will be joining ABC News with that vote now in progress.
The House will be in order. The clerk may call the roll.
Adams. Yay. Adderholt. Nay. Aguilar. Yay. Alford. No. Nay. Allen. No. Nay. Allred. Yay. Amaday. No. Nay. Armstrong.
You're listening to the roll call vote on the floor of the House of Representatives that will determine the fate of Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy. This is a roll call vote, meaning they've got to go through all 435 members of Congress. Currently, they've done 3. So we've got a long, long way to go on this vote. We will obviously know a few key votes that will be the determining factor, as we only have really a 5-vote margin between the Republicans and the Democrats. So we'll get a pretty good sense of that as we go along. So we're going to continue our coverage here as the vote rolls on the floor of the House of Representatives. I'll throw it back now to Dan for more news.
And Boyd, the debate included Congressman Matt Gaetz of Florida, who is the instigator of the effort to oust Speaker McCarthy. Many Republicans who still support the current speaker, but Gaetz was not giving up.
And time and again, I've heard my colleagues say that, well, he deserves it because he went through a tough speaker contest. Let me let everyone know he prevailed in that speaker contest because he made an agreement to fulfill certain commitments to make this an open and honest process, and he has failed to meet those commitments, and that's why we are here.
Now, former Utah Congressman Chris Stewart says there's a lot of anger in Washington right now. He doesn't understand the motives behind the handful of Republicans working to oust Kevin McCarthy.
He's a uniquely positioned and, frankly, a uniquely talented political leader.
Stewart says, tells David Dujanovic, he spoke with McCarthy shortly before he left Congress 2 weeks ago, told him he had the hardest job in the universe. In other news, a couple from Utah was seriously injured when their elephant ride in Thailand took a turn for the worse. Nicole Siri and Mark Martin say the elephant threw the guide off and then started running. The two decided to jump off.
When he jumped, the elephant turned and went in on him. And so then I see the elephant gorging Mark. I don't know if he's stepping on him, if he's got his tufts through him. I can't see that. All I see is the back end of an elephant bent over him.
And Siri says Martin suffered severe injuries to his back and hips. Both were flown back to Utah and are now recovering at Intermountain Medical Center. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average down 430 points as we approach the close of trading today. And the NASDAQ was down 248 points. And just ahead, we'll be looking at our weather coming up. It appears that the rain is going to taper off, and then we'll see the sun come out. That's next. KSL News Time, 2:04.
What do you need to hear in the morning to feel ready for the day?
Important news that happened overnight, the traffic you'll hit on the roads.
You'll be ready for your day with us.
Join Utah's Morning News 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best.
What about those round trips that you plan in advance, which are perfect on your way there and perfect on your way back? Or those meetings with friends for which you make a group chat 3 months before so that nobody or anything is missing? Or your daughter's first birthday party. You planned it with such dedication that instead of the first, it felt like our 15s. The same way you plan each detail for those moments. Start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit. And make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make. Get started at ready.gov/plan.
Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
For over a decade, SimpliSafe has revolutionized home security, and our latest advancement is here, 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Fall is here, and the holidays are coming fast. Zero Res is running an early bird sale this week. Just $25 per room for carpet cleaning. Get your holiday cleaning done now and save big. That's 25% off the regular price. The Zero Res method stays cleaner longer, so enjoy a clean home now and still be ready come the holidays. It's the early bird sale because it ends today. So you're only saving if you're a true early bird. You don't have to clean today, but you have to get on the schedule during the sale. $25 per room, minimums apply, call for details. And if you want to save even more, ask them about their special discounts on pet odor treatments too. Nothing beats a professional cleaning, and no one out-cleans Zero Res. The early bird sale at Zero Res. Just $25 a room. Minimums and area restrictions apply. Offer valid in Salt Lake, Utah, Davis, and Weber counties only. Schedule today. Online at ZeroRes.com.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Tuesday, October 3rd, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Hey guys, do you know what makes Revive Men's Health Salt Lake City different? You. Every Revive treatment and medication is personalized just for you. Revive has the experts that guys go to when their current treatment isn't working. They have a complicated medical condition, or they're just not happy with their daily performance. Since 2011, they've helped thousands of local men suffering with the symptoms of low T and ED. Their goal is simple, to get to the bottom of your issues and fix them. Your best performance requires more than generic ED medications or a low-dose testosterone booster at a low-ball price like you find online. Revive medications are custom compounded, affordable, and guaranteed to resolve your issues. Stop dealing with the symptoms of low T or ED. Book your T-check and exam today. Call 801-263-7777. That's 801-263-7777. Or visit us at ReviveMen'sHealth.com.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead.
With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in the zone. So what if I need a new one?
No problem. We have the right battery for your car, starting at only $89.99.
Get in the zone. And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in the zone. AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
Good speeds on all the Valley freeways. We do have an accident. This crash is at the exit ramp from eastbound I-80 at Bangerter Highway, but this vehicle went completely off the road. It's not blocking anything. And then we have an accident called out on Old Bingham Highway, which is about 3400 west near 7900 south. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, rain showers this afternoon will clear out by tomorrow, and then we have a warming trend through the weekend. And right now, we're at 57 degrees under mostly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back to Inside Sources here on KSL News Radio. If you're just tuning in, we're watching the drama unfold on the floor of the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., where currently they are in the midst of a roll call vote on the motion to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. It takes 218 votes for that to happen. And remember, the Republicans have a 5-vote majority in the House of Representatives. We know there are at least 5 Republicans who are going to vote with the Democrats to oust Speaker McCarthy. That's a little bit deceptive when you say the voting with the Democrats. The Democrats have agreed amongst themselves that this is a Republican problem and the Republicans should solve it. And so they're refusing to vote for Speaker McCarthy. Again, politically, that makes sense. It's a political power thing. And so what you will likely end up in the end is the Democrats and 5 or 6 Republicans will be those that determine the end of Speaker McCarthy's run as Speaker of the House. It will be one of the shortest in history, if not the shortest, probably the shortest in history. We'll go back to some historical points here in a minute. So right now, as they continue through this roll call vote, they are all the way down to the D's. This is done alphabetical. There's been about 113 votes cast to this point. We know just recently, John Curtis, of course, he's part of the C's, he voted against removing the Speaker. We'll continue to see how the rest of the Utah delegation votes on this matter. We'll also continue to monitor what's happening outside the chamber. This is just very interesting to see how this is playing out. And a lot of it is political posturing. And the one question that nobody knows is the therefore what question, which I think is the most important question. What happens next? Representative Matt Gaetz brought this to the floor, which he can do under the rules. So to be clear, he functioned underneath the rules of the House and the rules that the Republicans in the House set and that Speaker McCarthy agreed to. What Representative Gaetz has not done has shown anything other than what he's against. And very clear, very obvious, he's against Speaker McCarthy. He hasn't shown what he would do different. He hasn't put out a plan in terms of what the path forward is. He hasn't even put anybody's name forward, including his own, as to who should be the next Speaker of the House. So all of that drama is going to just continue to play out. But I want to go back to a moment. This was one of the last comments that were made from the floor of the House before the voting began. And you heard me talk about this earlier in the 1 o'clock hour, that even in the midst of this voting taking place, you had members, Democrat and Republican alike, sending out fundraising emails based on this vote. So they are in the well of the House of Representatives, and their political campaigns are sending out fundraising emails asking for donations because of what was happening on the floor today. That's wrong. And I don't care what your political affiliation is or is not, that is wrong. And I've seen just a host of them just in my own email box because I'm on everybody's list, both Democrats and Republicans, and they're all asking for money. Help me save the republic. But what they're really saying is help me save my political power. So I loved that one of the very last statements made by one of the representatives before the vote began was Representative Garrett Graves. And he commented, he actually pulled out his cell phone on the floor of the House, which is not supposed to be legal, by the way. He pulled it out to show the fundraising notifications that he was receiving from Representative Matt Gaetz and others following their motion to vacate the chair. Take a listen.
And all of a sudden, my phone keeps sending text messages saying, hey, give me money. Oh, look, give me money. I filed the motion to vacate. Using official actions to raise money. It's disgusting. It's what's disgusting about Washington.
I could not agree with Representative Garrett Graves anymore. That is what is wrong with Washington. When you have someone like a Representative Gaetz, and he was not the only one, to be clear, and he was not the only Republican. He was not, the Democrats were not free from this either. They're sending out fundraising emails in the middle of the most serious thing that the House has taken up in a long time, to vacate the Speaker of the House. That's serious, weighty stuff. This is supposed to be great deliberation. I just can't imagine any of the founders out there hustling for money for their campaigns in the midst of a serious debate. So we're going to continue to monitor all of this. We're up to about 155 votes have been cast thus far. And currently it's about 81-75 to remove. And we'll continue to watch that. Obviously, it will come down to a handful of Republicans that will determine the fate, because the Democrats are very clear that they are in lockstep with their leader, Hakeem Jeffries, who said, none of us are going to vote to keep Kevin McCarthy as the Speaker of the House. And so the Democrats and a handful of Republicans will cast the votes that will remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. So we'll go ahead and step aside for a quick commercial break. We'll continue to watch the drama unfold and talk about what it means to you. What does it mean to your house? What does it mean to our communities when we come back? Stick around.
Tonight, there's a new crime drama on NBC that has America buzzing. It's called Found. There is nothing like it on TV, period. Shanola Hampton stars as the leader of a team dedicated to finding missing people the system has forgotten. To do it, she'll cross any line, including holding her own former kidnapper hostage and making him help solve cases. Shanola Hampton and Mark Paul Gosselaar star in Found, premiering tonight on NBC.
Then stay tuned for KSL 5 News at 10.
Tonight at 10. What do you do when your car won't start? The battery was dead. And the warranty won't pay to fix it.
Replacing battery for that Fiat is about $30,000.
Even the dealership says it should be covered.
At my wit's end, like I've done everything that I can.
See what happened when this driver decided to call me.
I'd like a new battery. I love the car.
And what you should know about warranties before going electric.
Get Gephardt, Powerless Car Warranty, tonight on KSL 5 News at 10.
The country's largest used RV show is back and better than ever. Come find the biggest used RV selection in years, October 5th through the 7th at the Shops at Southtown. We're bringing in a massive range of used RVs from 6 locations in 3 states for this event. Shop used travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, toy haulers, and more all on site. Plus, find even more used models online at countriesrvshow.com. You'll find used RV pricing starting as low as $10,000. Along with a huge selection of used RVs, find new RVs straight from the factory already discounted for fall. Plus, all remaining 2023 2023s are at fall show pricing. Strike the best RV deal of the season with no payments until 2024 on approved credit. Not to mention huge trade-in offers on your current RV. And check out our Hunter's Corner just in time to kick off your hunting season. We'll also have consignment RVs at private sale prices backed by dealer support. Don't miss your best chance to extend your fall camping season during the country's largest used RV show. 3 days only, October 5th through the 7th at the Shops at Southtown. Open daily at 10 a.m. with free admission. Sponsored by Bish's RV.
Held over due to popular demand. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Be advised, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to save 40 to 80% on a hot tub and swim spa. This weekend only, Friday through Sunday, Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. 18-month interest-free financing. Our factories have demanded we sell 1,000 hot tubs and swim spas this weekend. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Huge factory incentives, factory rebates, this weekend only. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. We can remove your old hot tub. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Hot tub starting at $2,999. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Free delivery of your new hot tub. Just relax and enjoy. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Friday, noon to 8 p.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. Sunday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Free admission, free parking, free delivery. Mountain America Expo Center, Sandy. Call 888-SPA-SALE or visit HotTubAndSwimSpaSale.com.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit AnyHourServices.com.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. At 4 in the morning, my phone rang. They said, "I regret to inform you that your husband was wounded in action." Victor sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. I was doing school full-time, and I was also then caring for Victor. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself. I just didn't want to forget that I also had goals and that I also had a life. What I did is I challenged Victor to meet me halfway. There are almost 6 million military and veteran caregivers across the nation. We have our own journey, and we can fulfill that journey at the same time that we are helping our loved one.
Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. The House is voting now on a motion to vacate the position of Speaker of the House. No indication yet, though, as to who might replace him if he loses the job. Second, former Congressman Chris Stewart calls the Speaker's position the hardest job in the universe. Third, a couple from Utah was flown back home after being injured by an elephant in Thailand. Right now, 57 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Boyd Matheson divides rage from reason on Inside Sources.
Well, today I don't know if there's any reason to be had. We are dividing the rage from the rage today as we continue to watch things unfold on the floor of the House of the United States Congress. It has been a bit of a spectacle, a lot of chaos. Not a lot of class, zero governing, everything that's wrong. In fact, I want to go back, if we can go back to the sound from Representative Garrett Graves. So just before the break, we were mentioning this. One of the final speakers before this vote began, and we're about 250 votes into 435. And I'm going to be joined here in just a second by Leah Murray, our good friend, who's going to help us talk through all of this as we watch it play out. But I was criticizing both sides of the aisle for using this as an opportunity to do fundraising for political campaigns. And I loved the fact that that Representative Graves pulled out his cell phone on the floor of the House because he had just received an email with an invitation to donate to Matt Gaetz.
And all of a sudden, my phone keeps sending text messages saying, hey, give me money. Oh, look, give me money. I filed the motion to vacate. Using official actions to raise money. It's disgusting. It's what's disgusting about Washington.
Using official actions to get donations to your political campaign. That is not governing. And Leah, as you've watched this unfold today, you've seen a lot of different political machinations and drama over the years. As you watch this play out, what's been your observation as this has been happening today?
Yeah, I like what he just said right there, is that, to me, this is just the height, don't you think, Boyd, of performative politics? Yeah. And you and I have talked about this is not leading, right? This is not governing. This is just, if it is a case that I raise this motion to vacate so I can run a campaign ad, do you know what I mean, to raise money, that's just gross.
Yeah, it is gross. Representative Graves was spot on that. As we continue to watch the vote take place, Representative Blake Moore from the state of Utah just cast his vote against vacating the chair, against removing Speaker McCarthy from office. And so both Representative Curtis and Blake Moore have cast their votes. We'll continue to watch to see what Burgess Owens does when we get down to the O's. And so, Leah, as you look at this, one of the things we were talking about just rolling into this segment of the show is I had some hope this morning that maybe, just maybe, the Problem Solvers Caucus, which is 32 Democrats, 32 Republicans, that maybe the Democrats in that space would say, okay, this is a time to do the right thing for the country, not just for the political party. And it seems that even that effort is going to come up short based on the pure politics of it all.
Yeah, and I was just kind of wondering, I was watching the numbers, so tell me what you think. So we've got 7 Republicans. Looks like Democrats are marching in lockstep to say yes to vacate. So I feel like his speakership is over, right? So I don't know, Boyd, if you look at this the same way I do, and I'm like looking at this list of names and just kind of looking down into the Democrats, are there enough people from that Problem Solvers group that might I don't know, have a moment of grace here toward the end of the day, but I just don't see it happening. Do you see that happening? Right?
No, I think at this point it's pretty much since Burgess Owens just cast his vote. He also voted nay, so he voted against removing the speaker. So the Utah delegation was united in saying Kevin McCarthy should continue on as Speaker of the House.
Right, and that doesn't surprise me, right? So I think, the answer is I feel Republicans in Utah are a little better behaved, Boyd, maybe. Do you know what I mean? Like, the conversation is, I don't see them as being as performative. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see them as being, just really, like, I keep using the word gross, but like what I think Matt Gaetz is doing is not okay, right? It's not okay for the country. It's not okay for the Republican Party. It's not okay for how, I think you and I have talked about, it's like modeling good behavior.
Yeah.
Right? So you want the country to behave better. We want to get rid of the coarseness in our politics. This is not
This
that.
is not how you do that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so exasperating and exhausting to watch this play out. And I think everyone on both sides of the political spectrum, again, we'll be equal opportunity offenders today. The interesting footnote in history of this will be that it was the Democrats and 7 Republicans who ousted Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. First time that's happened. First time it's even been called to a vote in over 100 years.
Right.
And so that's an interesting thing. I think from the Democratic side to think, okay, we're the ones who are actually ousting Speaker McCarthy in the end.
Right. And then I don't understand it. So this is just, so over the weekend, you work with the speaker to get the stopgap measure, which is what, is the catalyst for this whole conversation. So why aren't you working with him now? And I guess, I had read one of the Democrats said, I'm not a cheap date, right? He's going to have to promise stuff, right? And I guess McCarthy, is saying I'm not going to promise anything, right? So I'm not going to work with them. But I guess I don't understand, right? Like, why is chaos better than being in a position where every move he makes, he's going to need you for a vote? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, if you'd worked with him and maybe he's not promising, but you could absolutely leverage that minority position to get things done. So do you have a understanding, maybe, Boyd, better than I do, why Democrats might be marching in lockstep like this today?
So this is one of the things that the Democrats historically, and really began with Nancy Pelosi, being in lockstep on these kinds of situations where they're just not going to flinch. They're just going to stay lockstep. Nobody's going to break away. And I think the interesting thing to me in all of that is it's one way to get more political power.
Okay.
But it does not allow you to lead.
No, I know that's totally right. But I can't understand, because don't you think had they helped him, that actually would have been, first of all, you would have looked better. You would have looked like you were leading. You would have looked like you were solving problems. But also you would have had him in your back pocket a little bit. So I don't understand where the downside was.
Yeah.
Right. And like supporting him not being vacated as Speaker. And I just can't see it,
Yeah, and I think it's just the very crass politics of it right now. We're, continuing to watch the vote play out. We're down to the S's. 330 votes have been cast thus far, but it appears that there are 7 Republicans. Is that what you're seeing on yours?
No, I see 8. Matt Rosendale just came in as
8.
a yes.
Okay, so we're up to 8 now. So that number, as long as the Democrats stay in lockstep, it means that the speakership for Kevin McCarthy is over for the moment.
Yeah, what happens next?
So we're going to talk about what comes next after we step aside for some bottom of the hour news. We'll be right back to watch the conclusion of how this plays out, and more importantly, we'll talk about what does come next, and is anybody in that chamber asking the more important question of what is best for the nation. We'll be right back.
It's 2:33 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top national story this hour. A roll call vote underway in the U.S. House of Representatives, which will determine whether Speaker Kevin McCarthy keeps his job. The last straw for the hard-right Republicans appeared to be McCarthy's compromise bill this weekend to keep the federal government running. Still, they represent just a handful of House members. Congressman Kelly Armstrong of North Dakota came to McCarthy's defense during debate, outlining the bills passed in the House over the past several months.
But that doesn't deliver his opponents what they crave the most: attention. We shouldn't stand for it. I won't stand for it. I will stand here with our speaker, with our leader, that the overwhelming majority of our Congress supports.
Now, all three of Utah's House of Representatives members voted no on the resolution, meaning they are backing Speaker McCarthy. Former Utah Representative Chris Stewart is also defending House Speaker McCarthy. Stewart told Dave and Janovic this morning he talked to McCarthy shortly before he left Congress a couple of weeks ago.
I told him thanks for what he does, but I said, Kevin, you've got the hardest job in the universe. To be Speaker of the House with a tiny Republican majority, or even a significant Republican majority, as we saw with John Boehner. It's just a nearly impossible job, and it's a thankless job.
Stewart calls McCarthy a uniquely talented political leader. Your money at this moment. At the close of trading today, the Dow Jones average was down 430 points, the NASDAQ down 248, and the S&P 500 was down about 59 points. Our KSL weather. After we get a little more rain tonight, things will be clearing up. That's next. KSL News Time, 2:35.
We have enough people running around Broadcast House at 4 in the morning to field a football team.
Producers, reporters, the traffic team, and us.
This is Tim and Amanda.
Join us each morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Introducing Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. We're bringing all of Utah's favorite HVAC, plumbing, and electrical brands under one roof. Protect your family with a Generac Home standby generator from the pros at Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric. Call today and save up to $1,000 when you purchase a new Generac generator from Yes. Don't be left in the dark. Schedule your free power evaluation from the expert technicians at Yes today. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
The country's largest used RV show is back and better than ever. Come find the biggest used RV selection in years, October 5th through the 7th at the Shops at Southtown. We're bringing in a massive range of used RVs from 6 locations in 3 states for this event. Shop used travel trailers, fifth wheels, motorhomes, toy haulers, and more all on site. Plus, find even more used models online at countriesrvshow.com. You'll find used RV pricing starting as low as $10,000, along with a huge selection of used RVs. Find new RVs straight from the factory, already discounted for fall. Plus, all remaining 2023s are at fall show pricing. Strike the best RV deal of the season with no payments until 2024 on approved credit. Not to mention huge trade-in offers on your current RV. And check out our Hunter's Corner just in time to kick off your hunting season. We'll also have consignment RVs at private sale prices backed by dealer support. Don't miss your best chance to extend your fall camping season during the country's largest used RV show. 3 days only, October 5th through the 7th at the Shops at Southtown. Open daily at 10 a.m. with free admission. Sponsored by Bish's RV.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Granite Credit Union's new Dividend Plus checking account. Here's Ricky Meese.
A crash where the vehicle left the roadway. This is eastbound I-80 at the Bangerter Highway off-ramp. It is out of traffic to the shoulder and wet roads again in that area. Also, clearing of an accident on Old Bingham Highway. This is about 7900 South and 3400 West. Join the Utah Symphony for the greatest classical hits from the 1700s to today. Tickets start at just $21. Get yours today at utahsymphony.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL weather, rain showers this afternoon, clearing tomorrow with a warming trend through the weekend. 57 degrees, mostly cloudy right now. I'm Dan Bomas, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, and KSLNewsRadio.com, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Hercules Credit Union has been offering high-quality financial services to the community since 1946, always about growing strong together. They have an extraordinary opportunity for you right now to go for the gold. If you open a checking account at Hercules First Federal Credit Union and qualify for their gold tier checking status within the first 90 days, they'll deposit $200 into your account. That's amazing. $200 into your account when you qualify in the first 90 days for gold tier checking status. Plus, you get all the benefits that come with it. You get identity theft protection, travel benefits, cellular care coverage, and a host of other things. It's a great opportunity for you. They're great to work with when it comes to your finances, your financial strength, and confidence moving forward. It's Hercules Credit Union. You can always find them in their locations in Taylorsville, Harriman, Riverton, and Salt Lake City, or as always with our friends at Hercules, you can find them online at HerculesCU.com. That's HerculesCU.com.
Inside Sources. Inside Sources. America's voice of reason. Boyd Matheson on Utah's home for elevated conversation. Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Well, this might be the ultimate in staying with the conversation, a conversation we'd just as soon avoid, but it is reality, and it is happening live on the floor of the House of Representatives in our nation's capital. Right now, the House is in the midst of casting votes on the future of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. Currently, the votes are 212 to 196-ish, somewhere in that range, and it appears from our calculations, and Leah Murray's joining us here as well. And Leah, it looks like there are at least 8 Republicans who have voted to remove Speaker McCarthy as Speaker of the House.
Right. So right now I see 8 Republicans, all of the Democrats voting to remove him. And I don't think there's enough votes left, right? Like even if enough people started saying present. So I think, I don't know.
I think we're there.
Right. I think you could call it. Is that the right way to say that? But
now there will be one moment. When from the chair they will give everyone a chance to. Anyone who has not voted, you noted that Nancy Pelosi did not cast a vote.
That's right. She's blank in this little thing I'm looking at. So are a number of Republicans.
So there are a few who have not voted. So at the very end, once they go through the entire alphabet, they will have a moment where they'll say anyone who has not voted or anyone who wishes to change their vote. There is a moment there, maybe a moment of moral clarity for some to say maybe we should do this a little bit different. But I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. Currently, the yeas are at 216, which just means 2 more votes cast, and that will be the end of the current reign of Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. And the reason I say the current reign is because once this vote is concluded and the chair is vacated, then they will move to choose a new Speaker of the House. The first thing that will happen is they will choose a temporary chair. And that will take a little minute to go through a couple of names there. And someone obviously can't be running to be Speaker of the House and be in the chair. So they will watch that, and they will get someone in that chair, and then that process will begin. And I anticipate that one of those nominated will be Kevin McCarthy.
Right. And so, like, what? A little bit, I can't. First of all, I think we're watching history happen. So I think to a certain extent, the political science historian in me is just super excited by all of this happening. But the answer is, so they'll put his name forward. I guess I thought I had read somewhere, Boyd, so please correct me if I'm wrong, that there was like a succession plan that was in place from his staff at some point, and maybe they're going to run in the interim. But what I hear you saying is they're going to move right away to the next January, ish, right?
Yeah,
event?
It'll be very similar to what we saw in January. They could disengage for the day. They could recess for a period. There's a number of things that could happen. We aren't sure how that all is going to play out. And then any number of names could be put into nomination. Now we know that the Democrats are going to put Hakeem Jeffries into nomination on their side, and all of the Democrats have committed that they will vote for Hakeem Jeffries for Speaker of the House. So if we go through this exercise, as we did just a few short months ago, back in January, we'll probably see multiple rounds of balloting. That succession plan that you talked about, I think there are a list of names that Kevin McCarthy could get behind.
Right, okay.
So if Kevin McCarthy says, okay, I'm done with my fight over all of this, here's who I would suggest.
Yeah.
Then my guess is that Steve Scalise will probably be the name to watch as someone who could probably bring along some of those Freedom Caucus members and holdouts.
And why is that? Just because he didn't have to negotiate with the Democrats on a stopgap? So then my question is, we're going to have this conversation around the budget again in 45 days or however long they did. So whoever is the next speaker is going to have that exact same conversation again. And so I guess the question kind of is, does the new person coming in have to make the promise to the far right of the Republican Party that one person can vacate? Or do you think something like this exercise causes them to say, we're not doing that again?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how that part plays out, because I think so. Let's start with Steve Scalise. I don't think Steve Scalise has quite the baggage that Kevin McCarthy.
Gotcha.
It's sort of the backup quarterback thing.
Gotcha.
Everybody loves the backup quarterback on the football team.
Right.
Right up to the point they
Till he
become the
plays.
starting quarterback and he
Right.
throws an interception.
That's right.
And so that's sort of what the next Speaker of the House is going to be. They'll be the backup quarterback. Everybody's going to cheer and get excited and say things will be different. And then they're going to have to deal, as you just described, Leah, they're going to have to deal right now, right away with we've got 43 days left until the government runs out of money again. And same song, different chorus, and results don't look all that different to me either.
Yeah, and so what do you think about, is there any punishment coming down the pike for a Matt Gaetz, Boyd? So, like, we were talking off the air that former Speaker Newt Gingrich actually had an op-ed saying they should vote to expel him. Like, I don't know how that happens, right? Like, if that would actually work. But, I mean, does the Republican Party conference, do they do anything to the members that caused this whole thing? Or is it more, here are a whole bunch of more carrots, do you know what I'm saying, to try to get you back in line?
Yeah, there's a host of things that, again, are just so down into the muck and mire of all of this. It's so unnecessary. None of this is necessary. This is all politics, all power and positioning, everything that we dislike about the way things are happening because of politics in our nation's capital. You and I were talking about the fact that we're not seeing anybody govern. And if you are a Democrat, you can sit, as we're watching on the screen, the Democrats are just all too happy to sit and watch this chaos play out because these are their commercials for re-election in 2024.
Right. They're commercials for themselves running. Do you think it helps Joe Biden's presidential candidacy? I mean, so oh my goodness, I just can't even.
Yeah, and so it does give the Democrats. So let's look at it just strategically. Again, not whether you're left or right. This actually helps President Biden.
Right.
Because then it's no longer about President Biden's record. It's about the Republicans can't govern. So even if you don't like me, you still don't want them to be in charge.
Right. They're a hot mess.
Yeah.
And it's a very easy, how do I say, right? Democrats could fracture on a whole host of issues, but man, they could get behind saying the Republican Party is a hot mess.
All right, they're going to announce the results of the tally. Let's go. Can we go to that live sound? Let's take a listen on the floor of the House.
Is hereby declared vacant.
There you heard it, declared vacant. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy.
So it is declared vacant. Very interesting. They technically did not get to 218, but there were enough absences that it was 216 to 210. So even a little closer than many people thought. But the person in the chair has declared that the speakership is vacated. Kevin McCarthy is no longer the Speaker of the House of Representatives. We're going to continue to watch this play out. We'll see what they do. They may recess for just a moment here before they pick up with what happens next. So let's go ahead and step aside for one last commercial break. We'll come back, give you an update, give you the roadmap of how you follow this mess moving forward. Coming up next on Inside Sources. Stick around.
Tickets for Taylor?
Yes, please.
It's hard to find good ones to the Eras concert movie.
Tell me about it.
So let KSL do this for your kids. Or maybe it's for you. We're giving away a pair of tickets to a private KSL screening of the Eras movie. Just listen each day at 8:45, 11:45, and 3:45 for your chance to win. 3 chances to win every weekday. 8:45, 11:45, and 3:45 for the next 2 weeks on KSL News Radio.
Ron had a tax problem he just couldn't handle on his own.
I owed the IRS taxes for over 5 years, but I didn't have any money to pay the taxes.
Those years cost him dearly.
Most of it was fees and interest. It was horrible.
Ron finally called in the pros.
I called Optima Tax Relief, and boy, am I happy I did.
The leading tax resolution firm, Optima, is A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've resolved over $1 billion for their clients. Ron was overjoyed.
They settled my account with the IRS. I was ecstatic. They are a lifesaver. They are. I am so happy.
Take Ron's advice and call Optima now for a free consultation.
Yeah, don't do like I did and wait. Call Optima Tax Relief. Do it now. You'll be ecstatic like me.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
If you have a water heater, I'm about to save you $100. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and a lot of people don't realize that water heaters need annual maintenance. You can do it yourself, or you can leave it to a plumber. And today, Tuesday, October 3rd, Any Hour Services is having a surprise one-day sale for KSL listeners. Normally, we charge $149 to flush and service your water heater. But if you call today and mention this ad, we'll tune up your water heater for only $49. That's $100 savings. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Manufacturers say annual maintenance can help your water heater last longer, produce hot water faster, and our plumbers service all brands. 801-443-7400. If it's been over a year since you've had your water heater flushed and serviced, call Any Hour Services right now. While you're thinking about it, lock in this $100 savings and schedule your $49 water heater tune-up today. Call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7400. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Attention smart homeowners. You don't have to fall for flashy promises and companies that don't even prove their work. At Your Service Pros uses third-party verification software called MeasureQuick to ensure your new HVAC system is installed correctly. This ultimate game changer in the HVAC industry lets you, the homeowner, have proof of how your system was installed. At Your Service Pros utilizes our Bluetooth tools to upload all of your system's information into MeasureQuick. We rely on data-driven insights to properly commission, optimize, and fine-tune your HVAC system for peak performance, improving your family's comfort, lowering your utility bills, and extending the life of your HVAC system. With rebates and tax credits available totaling more than $7,500 on a dual fuel heating and cooling system, it is now more important than ever that your HVAC system be installed correctly. So call us today at 801-YOUR-PRO. That's 801-YOUR-PRO. Have the peace of mind of saving up to 50% on your new system and knowing it's installed correctly by calling 801-YOUR-PRO.
Social Security is with you through life's journey from birth to retirement. As your life changes year to year, so do your needs. For over 80 years, Social Security has helped to meet your needs and is committed to improving access to the services that make a difference in your life. Today, you can verify your earnings, estimate your future benefits, apply for retirement, manage your benefits, and even change your address, all from the comfort of your home. Social Security's online services help put you in control with secure access to your information anytime, anywhere, allowing you to spend more time with family, friends, or simply just enjoying the day. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow. See what you can do online at socialsecurity.gov.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, all three of Utah's representatives voted no on a resolution to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker. Second, former Utah Congressman Chris Stewart says Speaker is a thankless job. Not clear at this point who might replace McCarthy if he loses the vote. And third, persistence paid off for a teacher in Riverton. Now he has $50,000 from Harbor Freight to boost his automotive program. Right now, 57 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Inside Sources on KSL News Radio.
Hear elevated conversation on crucial issues. Boyd Matheson on Inside Sources.
Well, we've watched the drama unfold in our nation's capital, right on the floor of the House of Representatives. I do not think this is a good day for the Republic. Regardless of your political preference or party or affiliation of any kind, this is not a good day for the Republic. And it's not good for Republicans. It's not good for Democrats, by the way. It's not good for anybody. And so as we've watched that played out, the Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, has been removed by vote. And it was a vote of all of the Democrats that were present, and 8 Republicans joined their Democratic colleagues in ousting Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. Now, a lot of politics rolled into that. The question for many people is what comes next? And so let me just give you a quick description in terms of where we go from here. Kevin McCarthy, anticipating that he would likely lose the speakership today, he chose a handful of representatives, including Representative Patrick McHenry from North Carolina, Richard Hudson, also from North Carolina, Representative Adrian Smith from Nebraska, Representative Robert Whitman of Virginia, Representative Andy Harris of Maryland, and Representatives John Joyce and Guy Rusenthaler from Pennsylvania. So this group is to act as Speaker pro tem, so they can sign the bills that are currently in process. As we watch this unfold, we're going to go to the instigator of this mess, who for one small grape is attempting the entire vine to destroy. We're going to go to Matt Gaetz, who is speaking outside of the United States Capitol.
I'm afraid of the dollar losing its status as the global reserve currency. If they want to expel me, let me know when they have the vote.
Has anyone talked about that with you? Days left before
Sorry, go
we've
ahead.
got less than 45 days left before you have to pass a budget, which is something that you've been wanting to do. Doesn't this just completely paralyze the House? I mean,
Will you be a candidate for Speaker? Are you going to
You're a fighter so many times.
Watch out, man. Watch out.
It does not look as though Kevin McCarthy is cooperating.
All right, that is, they actually switched feeds there. They went to Kevin McCarthy, who had just exited the floor of the House chamber, going back to his office, really being swarmed and followed by a host of reporters and camera people as he's beginning to move out of the floor of the House of Representatives. He didn't really have any comment there. Ironically, Matt Gaetz is holding court himself outside of the United States Capitol, still talking about the problems, zero solutions. I don't think that represents anybody well. Again, whether you love Speaker McCarthy or you hate him, that's not the issue. The issue is, how do you govern and how do you move forward? Leah Murray continues to join me here as we watch this drama unfold. And this is not a good day for the Republic, Leah, as you've watched this play out. Give us some sense as you've watched this, both from a historical standpoint, which I know you love.
Yeah. No, and the answer is it's the first time we've ever done this in history. So, like, my favorite quote I'm reading, and I don't know which Republican member of the House said it, but someone basically said, now what? And the answer is, I think, off the air I was saying to you, Boyd, so what do you think happens next? Because we've never done this before.
Yeah.
And we hear the word like unprecedented a lot, but this is actually unprecedented.
This really is unprecedented.
You know, and usually you look back to like, well, this is what we did last time, or this is how you do this. So I just don't know. It sounds like they're in recess, like you thought they would be. They're going to like take a beat, probably gather what their plans are, and then maybe we don't know much until tomorrow.
So the two paths that could unfold, I think, in the next little while. So one would be that they recess until tomorrow. What you would normally do is you would convene as a conference. The Republicans would get together. The Democrats would get together. The Republicans have no leader. So having that gathering, who's in charge?
Oh, let me ask you a question right there on that, because the reason why McHenry is the new speaker interim is a result of a 9/11 succession plan, right?
Yes.
So the idea was, well, this could go.
But that's governing.
Right, that's governing. It's not party
politics.
leadership. That's what I was going to ask you. So he doesn't have any authority to call a conference meeting.
No.
He only has authority to keep the lights on in the building or to do the work government
right.
needs to do. I didn't even think of that. So how does that...
Yeah, so the Republicans are going to have to somehow get together and convene. And so will the other members who were part of Speaker McCarthy's leadership team, like Steve Scalise, will they convene that? Will there be someone else who maybe wants to be speaker, say, hey, come meet with me. Let's have a conversation. So that could definitely happen. The Democrats have very little to talk about because they have already announced, they have already forecast they will nominate Hakeem Jeffries to be the Speaker of the House. He doesn't have 218 votes, so we know Hakeem Jeffries is not becoming the Speaker of the House. And so the battle will continue to rage on amongst the Republicans until they can coalesce around someone. And as we saw back in January, that could take days. It could take even longer. And so let's break down just those 2 points real quick, Leah. In terms of the governing part, you mentioned the Speaker of the House pro tem, this group of about 8, I think, Republicans who will take turns sitting in the chair and calling business to the front, bills that have been submitted or already voted to be on the floor for debate. So that part of the work will actually continue.
Right. And so I imagine, but oh my gosh, so the thing we talked about just before, right? Like we only have a stopgap funding measure. And I'm sorry, Boyd, that's what's front of mind for me, right? So 43 days left, you said. You were right, because it was 45 days on Saturday. So it's like 43 days left. But so does this group is now negotiating with Biden and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell? And do they have authority? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
to do
no one can do that. None of this. The pro tem is strictly in the chamber doing the work. It's not negotiating. It's not bringing forth new bills.
Gotcha.
It's not dealing with appropriations bills that haven't come to the floor yet. It is kind of status quo, minimum standard in terms of what's actually being done. And so there's not a lot that will get done in this interim period. And most of it will, as we've seen, we just watched. It took almost an hour for this vote to take place. And I don't think anyone has any dreams that this is going to get done in a single vote. I think this is going to be multiple rounds of voting over multiple days. And the question for me, for all the Republicans, from Matt Gaetz onward, and for all the Democrats, is can we ask a different question? Can we actually ask and then answer what's best for the country? That wraps it up for the Inside Sources portion of your day. I'm Boyd Matheson. Thanks for joining us, and big thanks to Leah for jumping in with us today. And as always, as you go out into the world, make sure you see something that inspires, say something that uplifts, and do something that will make a difference, because that's what gives us hope for the Republic.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City. Listen at home on any smart speaker and in your car at 102.7 FM. This is KSL News Radio, Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon, 3 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're at 55 degrees. Cloudy right now, no rain falling. KSL's top story. Breaking news, Kevin McCarthy was just ousted as Speaker of the U.S. House. They finished the history-making vote moments ago. Maria Chaleos is live at the KSL National News Desk with the latest. Maria.
Jeff, the showdown in the House ending with Kevin McCarthy losing his leadership position. Here's what it sounded like as the historic vote came in.
Boebert. Nay. Clyburn.
Yay.
In the end, it was 216 to 210 to vacate the position. It's a win for Republican Matt Gaetz, who pushed for the ouster.
Chaos is Speaker McCarthy. Chaos is somebody who we cannot trust with their word.
Fellow Republican Jim Jordan disagreed.
He has kept his word. I think we should keep him as Speaker. I yield back.
It is the first time in U.S. history that House lawmakers voted their leader out. The chamber will now need to decide a new leader before it can once again tackle spending bills needed to avoid a government shutdown in mid-November. Live from the KSL National News Desk, I'm Maria Chaleos, KSL News Radio.
Maria just mentioned this is history this afternoon. Joining me live, the host of Inside Sources, Boyd Matheson, KSL at Night host Leah Murray here live in the studio. So, Leah, the historical perspective, this has never happened before?
That is correct. It's never happened before. So a very recent example would be Speaker Boehner, right, who knew he was in trouble, and so he stepped down. So usually what happens when you are a leader and you know that you don't have the votes, right, usually you exit stage left, right? So you get out of the way of these things happening. So back in 1910, there was a fight over the speakership. That speaker survived that fight, but then was severely weakened. Does that make sense? So we've never had a position in our history where this has happened.
Boyd, two questions. First of all, who takes over as Speaker at this moment? And longer term, who's going to hold the gavel?
Yeah, so you've got a group of about 8 members of the House on the Republican side who have been designated as Speaker of the House pro tem. So their job is very limited. They don't have the full power of the speakership. They can call bills up that have been already put into place or into motion onto the floor. They can keep some of those things moving along. It's basically minimum standard, and they will be the ones who oversee the votes as we get to the nomination for who the next speaker will be.
I want to ask you both about this. Boyd, a moment ago you said this is not a good day for the Republic. Why not?
Because this is all performative politics at its worst. You had Matt Gaetz, a representative from Florida, who has made this his personal vendetta. He did not offer a plan. He has not offered himself to be the next speaker. He is just doing this for performative. And I actually love one of his own party on the floor of the House pulled out his cell phone and said, "I just received a fundraising message from Matt Gaetz." That's the problem. That's why it's not a good day for the Republic.
Leah Murray, why do you think?
It's never a good day when our leaders are misbehaving like this. So I'm just going to say, Boyd and I have talked about this a lot. It's about bringing, not being coarse in politics. It's about being the best versions of ourselves, right? Like kind of the better angels that we expect ourselves to be. And when you are Matt Gaetz and you're doing this and then you're going to fundraise off of it, right? You're sending out texts as a result of it. Like, That is not a good look. And I guess today, former Vice President Mike Pence was at Georgetown and he hears about it and he basically says, chaos is never America's friend. And he's right? Like the answer is when we're in this kind of turmoil and we don't know what's happening, that's instability. That is not what we should be having. It's not good.
Leah, Boyd, you are at different places on the political spectrum, but you agree on this. It's not a good day.
Yeah, no, there's no question about it. And there's nothing good that comes of this. Because this is not what governing looks like. And as we said, closing out the program, the question has to be for every member is not what's best for them politically, not what will put the Democrats in power or put a certain Republican in power. That is not the question. They were not elected for politics. They were elected to govern the United States of America. And that's the question. What is best for the country? And there are some members of Congress that are asking that question today. I've been in contact with many of my people on both sides of the aisle in Washington, D.C. today. And there are some good people who are genuinely upset and concerned about this on both sides of the aisle. But we got to get more people back there who are willing to say what is best for the country.
Thanks to both of you. Well, all of Utah's congressmen voted against getting rid of Kevin McCarthy. KSL News Radio's Lindsay Aerts spoke with Congressman John Curtis.
Curtis worries this vote to vacate and find a new speaker will take up a lot of the oxygen.
Here again, I don't want to predict anything, but there's certainly the possibilities that the entire 45 days of the CR we just passed could be spent on this.
Curtis says for him, the vote was easy. He supports the speaker.
The reality of it, there's no alternative, right? I mean, that's what people are not seeing here is